So when she finished praying, I said, guys, I'm going to do it. And they were like, what? They looked at me like, you just said you weren't, and now you are. And, you know, they thought I lost it, I'm sure. But I said, yes, I feel like I have to do it because I cannot go through life thinking, what if? What if I would have tried that? I had to give Caleb every opportunity that this world had to offer, at least, of making him better. So I told the lady they couldn't even move Caleb at this point. He was still so unstable. He was barely clinging to life. They wouldn't even move Caleb. The surgery people came up from upstairs. They moved everything out of the room. They scrubbed the walls. They scrubbed the furniture. They scrubbed everything. And all the surgery people were up there setting up in the room. And I said, I asked the nurse came in. I told her, I said, come in. Because they were just waiting on me to sign a piece of paper. That's all they needed, was for me to give them permission to do this. So I told the nurse, her name was Joy, I'll never forget her. I said, Joy, I said, I want you for her to come in, and I said, I have decided to let you do the procedure. And she said, okay, well, she goes, well, I need you to sign this form. Well, she had a book underneath this really long piece of paper, and she set it all in my lap. And she said, now you need to sign right here, and this is what this says, and this is what this means. And I couldn't see anything because tears were just flowing out of me. So I set the book on my lap, and I was holding the paper up to see if I could make any sense out of anything. I couldn't even see the line where I was supposed to sign. So as I was holding this piece of paper up, I looked down in my lap, and it was a God thing. It was a Bible sitting in my lap. And I put the paper down, I held up the Bible, and I said, Mom, I said, look at this. I said, this is my sign. This is telling me everything's going to be okay. I know God did this. So I put the book down, I signed the paper, and I said, Joy, I just have one last question. Because at that point, I thought, you know, this is probably the last time that I'll ever see my son alive. Even though the machines were basically keeping him alive, I knew that this was probably going to be it. But God was telling me it's going to be okay either way. So she said, sure, come on. So she took me in there. The people were still cleaning and getting everything ready. And she took me around. Now, Caleb has tubes, hoses, wires coming out of everywhere on his little body, little 3-year-old body. And all I can see of Caleb is across the bridge of his nose and his eyes, because the ventilator is all taped up, and they had stuff on his forehead. So the best that I possibly could, and mind you, this was 7 days of total non-responsive. Caleb was not basically in there. I cradled him the best that I could, and I leaned over, and already my tears were dropping on his face, and I was telling him how much I loved him, and I was kissing him all across the bridge of his nose and his eyes, and telling him how much Mama loved him, and that it was going to be okay. And I looked up, and all the doctors were even crying. The nurses in the room were crying. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, because they were like waiting on me to get done. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'll get out of here. And I leaned over and I gave him one last kiss and told him again that I loved him. And as I went to pull away, Caleb's hand was laying beside him. But at that moment, it bent up and it came up to my chest. And I lost it. Because to me, it was another God thing. I knew that God gave me that because I had always held his hand during procedures, after procedures. He always knew that I was there because I held his hand. So when his hand came up to my chest, I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you for that. Because to me, that was it. That was God saying, He knows you're here. And I was so overjoyed. I just about jumped off that stool because I could not wait to get back and tell my mom, because I knew she would know what that meant. So I kissed his hand and I said, oh, I know, baby. I know, you know Mama's here. I am here. I love you. And I kissed his hand again. I kissed his cheek again. And I kind of scurried out because they were still like, standing there crying, looking at me. So, and then I remember hearing Joy, the nurse, lean over to the doctor and say, did you see that? But it didn't dawn on me at the time what had actually happened. Went back to the little waiting room that we were in, and I was telling them, oh my gosh, God just gave me the most wonderful thing. Told them that Caleb knew I was there. Well, I didn't even get it spit out. That the doctors, that neurosurgeon and the guy that he was training, all of the doctors from the PICU unit were coming in the room. One of his cardiologists were coming in the room, and they're all coming in, and they halfway have smiles on their faces, and I'm thinking, why are they smiling? My son is probably gone. So we were really kind of stunned, and the neurosurgeon said, Miss Thomas, we saw what just happened. And I'm thinking, okay, it still hadn't hit me yet. And he said, may I ask Miss Thomas if Caleb responded to you? He hasn't responded to anything in 7 days, but he just responded to you. He goes, you don't need me. Caleb's probably going to wake up. He goes, I don't know what he's going to be like, but he's gonna wake up. You don't need me. So at the time, the doctors were like, we can't explain it. There was one particular doctor in there, we don't understand what just happened. And I looked at each one of them and I said, I can tell you exactly what just happened. I said, God answers prayer. That's what happened. And at that instant, I realized that God had just given me the most amazing miracle. And you hear people talk about miracles. I know you've maybe seen them on TV. The miracle shows, had a miracle happen to me or whatever. But oh my gosh, you can watch that show all day long, but until it happens to you, you have no idea how amazing it feels. It was just the most wonderful thing in the world. We had several more weeks of Caleb being in a vegetative state. He was on a ventilator for 4 of those weeks. Once he finally started to wake up, we knew very quickly that Caleb was in there. My mom and dad have this little song that they used to sing with all of the grandkids. What is it? Caleb Reese is Nana's boy, and then Granddad would pop in and say, Granddad's boy, and they would argue over it. Well, Caleb was awake, and of course the kids got the biggest kick out of it. They thought, oh yeah, they're fighting over me. Well, Caleb had been awake for a few days, and Mom and Dad came up, brought the kids to see us, and